We're starting 4b, and we're starting from Amar Rabbi. It's the second to the last word on the line. So the last word on the line is Abaya. Okay. Our discussion here that we're going to do today is philosophical. The Gemara is usually not philosophical. Today it's philosophical. What happens is we have a lot of cases in the Torah where the Torah says don't do this. But nevertheless, when you do it, it works. You know, it says don't do Temurah. You do it, it becomes Temurah. But you get lashes. You weren't supposed to do it. The question is that an exception to the rule, or is that the way it always is? So we're going to go through a bunch of different cases where the Torah says don't do it. There's certain types of women that you're not allowed to marry. If you marry them, so it's not considered a marriage. Certain types of women that you're not allowed to marry. If you marry, it is a marriage, and it was just a violation. So which one is the rule and which one is not? So we're going to go through over here. It's Machlekes Abaye and Rava. And the way we're going to resolve each one is we're going to say, oh, that's a special pasuk. That's the exception. We're discussing everything else. Okay. Amar Abaye. Abaye says, Kol milsa, every matter, everything. The Amar Rachmana, that the merciful one says, the Eibishter says, the Torah says, Lo yisavid, that you shouldn't do. Imavid mahani. If you do it, it still works. In other words, why do you get malchus? Why do you get punished? The Torah says not to do it, and you did it. If it didn't work, so you didn't do anything. The whole reason why it's a problem. Oh, beautiful! Thank you. The whole reason why it's a problem is because it worked, right? Say the doors downstairs. You know, they have let's say it says do not use those doors. So if the doors didn't open. So would you need a sign there that says, don't use it? No. It's because the door is open. That's why they put it. So it's because it works. That's a bias sheet. The Isal Kedai Techlai Mahani, if it would say that it doesn't work, am I lucky? Why do you get malchus? He didn't do anything. It says, don't marry your sister. If someone gives a kedushin or something, it didn't work. So there's no... so I didn't do anything. I gave her something. We had such a story. If someone gives kedushin to a sister, if it's a gift, remember? So there was nothing. What did he do? He did nothing. Why is there malchus for that? Rava says, Loi mahani midi, the opposite. It actually doesn't work. Lucky. So why do you get malchus for things that the Torah says if it doesn't work? If it doesn't work anyway, what did you do wrong? It doesn't work. Because you tried. You get malchus for trying to do something wrong, even though nothing was effective.
I'm curious what everybody feels like. What's the affinity? I'm curious to know, what is everybody's affinity? Do you have an affinity to Abaye's opinion or Rava's opinion?
That's a problem.
Isn't this like attempted whatever in our law? Attempted murder, attempted whatever.
No, here he did something. I'm curious what everybody... I have a feeling, but I'm curious if everybody feels the same.
I think Rava should surely hold Rava. Wow.
Rava?
Really? That it doesn't work?
And in other words, the reason for the malchus, I don't know. That because you're going against Abish's words, the fact that it works, it doesn't work. You're breaking Hashem's rules. That's it.
Yossi says that it sounds from Rava that you're getting malchus for your thoughts, because even though it's not effective, but you tried, so it's really your attempt. But it's not you're taking away the value of the action. But you can't say that because malchus is because of the action. It must be that it's the action and there's the accomplishment of the action. Right. Even though there's no accomplishment.
What is Dr. Stein?
I don't know if it works. It doesn't work like that. Meisvei, listen to we'll have some questions here. The questions do not make the concepts so much easier. these questions get more abstract. So, let's see. Einish Shagirish. He said that there's a man that has to stay married to the girl that he raped. If she wants, as David pointed out. If she consents to stay married to him, to marry him, so he has to stay. He can't divorce her. He's responsible now for her the rest of her life.
That's punishment.
That's his punishment. He can't divorce her. Lo yichol l'shalcha. He has to stay married to her. Let's say he does divorce her. So einish shadirish. Im Yisrael, if it's a Jewish person, so machzer, he marries her back, ve'ina like it, but he doesn't get malchus.
So it works. So it works to divorce her even though it's not.
So very interesting. Look at what the Gemara says. That's the way I thought. Ve'i amret, and if we say kivan da avram memra de rachmana laki, if you say like Rava, that you violated what Hashem said, you should get malchus. So hanami lilki, he should get malchus. He tried to divorce her. I know he has to marry her back, but he tried to divorce her. And even though, that's the fine point here. Is he considered divorced? So what's considered divorce if you have to take her back? So it's apparently here we're considering it ineffective. If it's ineffective, but so what that it's ineffective? There should be malchus according to Rava. Rava says you tried to do something that the Torah says you shouldn't do. Tiyufta de Rava. This is a very strong question on Rava. Amalach Rava. It's supposed to say Shani Hasam Damakra Kol Yamav. Over there, it's a special case. It says Kol Yamav, that Liyuchel L'Shalcha Kol Yamav. You can't send her away all of his days. And Kol Yamav B'Amud V'Hachser. So the reason why he doesn't get malchus, the Gemara here is understanding, is that he can't. Liyuchel L'Shalcha Kol Yamav. Can't send her away all his days, but he's not sending her away all his days because he's taking her back after. The malchus is only at the end of his days. That's where you put the comma, right?
So Kol
Yamav. Not that he's not allowed to send her away throughout his life. He's not allowed to send her away throughout his life. Throughout it, his whole life, he can't send her away. He's only sending her away for part of his life. That's what it sounds. I mean, that's what the Gemara is saying. There was a sign on this building, my grandmother's building. It said, "No trespassing violators will be prosecuted." And I remember looking. I was a kid. They didn't put a period after no trespassing, so it said, "No trespassing violators will be prosecuted." And I'm looking at this well, you won't get in trouble here. So here we're learning the pasuk that why is it that there's no, we're understanding Rava that why is there no malchus here? Because he didn't do the prohibition. He didn't send her away his whole life. Ula Abaya. According to Abaya says that there should be malchus even if it's not effective. So according to Abaya says no. Abaya says the opposite. Abaya says that there's no malchus unless it's effective. So here he sent her away, but he has to marry her back. So why do I need the pasuk to say Kol Yamav? There's no malchus anyway. That's what we're going back to that. Because he has to take her back. Let's see. Ilav damar rachmana kol yamav. The Gemara explains havamini suruhu diyavar the avadlei that he committed a sin. However, he lahada. But who says that he has to marry her back? If he wants to, he'll marry her back. If he doesn't want her, he won't marry her back. So Kamash Malan, it comes to teach me that no, that kol yamav that he has to marry her back. So according to Abaya, I need the Kol Yamav to tell me that he has to marry her back. and that's an obligation, and he doesn't get malchus, according to Abaya. According to Abaya, the whole malchus is only because it's effective.
Since he could always remarry her back, it's not an effective thing.
Right. There's no malchus.
She might refuse to remarry him.
But then that would
So
be
that
allowed. But then he would be allowed. Then he would be allowed to divorce her. Yeah. We want that.
So then he wouldn't get malchus.
Right. So over here it's a case where there's no malchus. There's no malchus. He has to marry her back. According to Abaya, that makes sense because it was ineffective. And according to Rava, there's no malchus because he didn't really commit the full sin because he didn't divorce her for his whole life. Lishnach Rina.
He's not allowed to divorce her. Is the divorce a valid divorce that he needs a new kesuna to get married again?
No, that's the difficult point here, because the Gemara is assuming that it's not considered an effective divorce because he has to take her back. But the truth is, when you look into this carefully, 1 second, if you have to do another kedushin,
That's considered that it was effective.
that means that it was effective, and that's the point that makes this Gemara difficult here, because the Gemara says Girish Machzer. Sounds like he has to do another kedushin, but the Gemara is ignoring that aspect.
Because the
So it's
remarriage
really
is
it's
nullified.
black or white. It's not holding. So then technically it says machzir, meaning that it was not effective, and just bring her back in. Lav dafka with condition.
Right.
Because the remarriage is nullifying the effects of the divorce.
Right. I don't know the answer. No, there's certain laws in Gerushin where it needs to be a krisus.
Right.
You need to be totally severed. And over here, maybe that's an answer, that you're not totally severed because you have the obligation to bring back.
See, even Rambam saying being Temurah.
What are you
It
saying?
says this over there. I'm just reading in the middle of it. It says being Temurah. Kivan de lo mahani gerushin. It's the gerush is not holding l'chayav b'baaleh mishum esashis. Kodem chazar.
Ah, very good. So this is what Taisus is discussing. Very good.
Yeah. So he's taka saying that it wasn't even holding to begin with.
Okay.
And here it says in Taka Klan, lo chal get kol.
No, he's just discussing what's happening here in the
Bais
Gerushin.
said it won't be.
Bais,
It's about the
That's
case
why
itself. We're just talking about
That's why Bais says you're not going to get.
But doesn't every get have to
Doesn't
be
nothing
approved by the wife as well? And she has to receive it.
She has to accept it, Meritzaina, only according to Rabbi Gershon. That's much later. According to the Gemara, he can throw a get.
Through the window.
Yeah.
In and out.
He can throw the get into her courtyard and
So
run away.
Rabbi Gershon made a lot of decrees, a lot of marriage.
Yeah. Okay, listen, Achrina. Meisvei. It gets more like philosophical here. Einis Shagirish. Same case. Im Yisrael hu machzer. Ve'ina like it. If it's a Jewish person that divorces the girl that he wasn't allowed to, so he returns her, but he doesn't get malchus. V'im kayin hu like it. I'm not sure why it's adding that in over here because that's not our main point. If it's a kayin, then he does get malchus. We're not discussing that yet. Ve'ina machzer, and he can't take her back. Why? Because he can't take back someone that he divorced. See, it's clear that there was a get. It's clear that the get was effective. Otherwise, what does it mean he can't take her back?
So
She's not a divorcee at all.
It's true, so kind of that this halacha wouldn't work.
It doesn't work because he can't marry her back. So, nevertheless, it's supposed to say over here, Ketani Mias, nevertheless it was taught, Im Yisrael Machzer, if it's a Jewish person, he takes her back. That means that it was ineffective. Tiyufta da Abaya. It's a kashan Abaya. According to Abaya, if the Torah says not to do it, it's still effective. You weren't supposed to do it. Over here, he did it, and it's not effective because he has to still marry her back.
From the kohen, you see that it is a same place, like backwards and
Right,
forwards.
right. I would have left out that
Say that
piece
one more
because
time,
it
Rabbi.
messes up the
Say
question.
that one more time.
No. Let's try that again.
As I'm following.
With a Kohen who marries somebody who's not allowed to marry, it's an effective marriage.
Yes, we'll see. In some cases, we'll see. The Gemara is going to get to that soon. Okay, here. According to Abaya says that when the Torah says that you're not allowed to do something, and you do it, that act is effective. It accomplishes what you're exactly not supposed to accomplish. That's what Abaya says.
Right.
So the problem is here, the Torah says don't divorce this woman, and it should be that she's divorced and it's finished. You violated, it's over. But it's not so. You have to marry her back. That means that you're not really accomplishing what the Torah... When you're trying to commit this sin, you're not really accomplishing because the Torah is compelling you to take her back.
What's it called? If a Kohen marries a divorced woman or something when she's not allowed to, is it effective or not?
So wait for the next page for that. Wait for the next page. That's gonna come up. That's gonna Almana Grush. That's gonna come up over here. Okay. So it says Lishna Shani Hasam. We're up to Shani Hasam. Over there it's different. The Rachmana Amar Kol Yamav. It says that you can't divorce her all his days. And Kol Yamav Bamud V'Hachser. This is a special halacha, special instance where the Torah says that he has to take her back. All his life, he has that obligation to take her back. V'Rava Amalach. According to Rava, we don't need a special pasuk here that has to tell me that he has to take her back. It should be that it was ineffective anyway, that he should naturally, lo yuchal l'shalcha, he can't send her out. He should always have to take her back. Eily kaseh rachmana kol yamav. If the Torah didn't say, if the Eibishter didn't say that he has to take her back, havamina lilke, we would have thought that he gets malchus, v'lei hader, and he takes her back, the havlei lav greda, because it would just have been a prohibition. And according to Rava, anytime that there's a prohibition, you get malchus, whether it was effective or not. The fact that you try to commit a crime, even though it's ineffective, is malchus. It's a regular violation. That's why the Torah says, the pasuk says, Kol Yamav, that he can't send her out all his life. Rabbi says that this is making it into a lavanetic lase. What we learned yesterday, that lavanetic lase, that if there's a negative prohibition that's followed by a corrective, positive command, so then there's no malchus on the negative prohibition. So the Kol Yamav is telling me that it's followed by a positive corrective law.
Why don't they ask for Menachem?
No, they ignore that.
Nobody talks
Why
about
can't we learn it from Hashem? Hashem has always taken us back when we've strayed. So the same, we should be divorced, but He's always taken us back. We've never given malchus to Hashem, which proves that you're not the malchus and the lav shenita klaseh, because we're a chosen people. Don't ask me to repeat that.
You got the motorcycle.
You said philosophical.
Have another.
No, there's something from the Rebbe's father on what you're saying. That I saw, in those where the Rebbe's father compares this layuchal l'shalcha to the Jewish people and the destruction of the Bais Hamikdash. He has some.
I promise you, I never read that.
Okay.
Concept of Temurah, right?
Just being honest.
Isn't that a message?
Yeah. Okay. So, why is that? Why didn't we say that that's a... Oh, yeah, that's going to be a discussion. That's going to be a discussion. Okay, let's go... when we bring that up again, when we turn the page. Very Tayrem, what about Truma? A Tayrem and a Ra'ala Yafa. You're not allowed to take Truma from something that's inferior, on something that's superior. And the qualities are not the same. You can't give to the Kayan the lesser quality, and you keep all of the better quality for yourself. You can't do that. The Rachmana Amar, the Eibishter says, the merciful one says, Mikol Chelbai. Chelbai in Guru light, you have to give the best. You don't give the inferior quality. Utanan, it's taught in the Mishnah, Ein Tarmin Menara Yafi. You can't take from the inferior quality on the good thing, on the good stuff. Vim Taram, but if you did, Trumasai Truma. It works. Question is, according to Rava, why does it work? The Torah says don't do it, it shouldn't work. Alma Mahani, we see that it works. Tiyufta de Rava, it's a question on Rava. According to Rava, it should be not effective. Amalach Rava says, Shani Hassan. Rabbi says that no, the reason why you get punished was because it was effective. Rava says that you get punished just for trying to do something, right? Amalach Rava says, remember I mentioned the Rebbe's father. The Rebbe's father has this whole discussion on Abai and Rava, on which level they are according to Kabbalah. That Abaya is associated with Makif Harachik. Makif Harachik is the surrounding light of Hashem that's distant. And Rava is associated with Makif Akarev, the closer one. It's compared to the garments, as opposed to a house. No, they're both Seifif. But in Seifif you have Makif Harachik and Makif Akarev. Garments or a house. Makif Harachik is a house. So Abaya, usually we don't pass him like Abaya because he's too high, too beyond. We'll go through it another time. But anyway, when you think about this, the two ways of approaching what's happening here, it could be that one of them is looking at things on a higher level. So Rava responds over here, Shani Hasam Kid Rabbi Loi. We're going to use those words that we're using over here for truma, that it has to be done properly. That's coming to teach me something else, like Rabbi Loi says. Rabbi Loi says, Minayin l'terem min hara l'yafet shetrumasi truma. How do we know that it's effective? Shenemar v'leisisu alav cheit barimchem eschel b'mimenu. Do not bear the sin when you separate the best for the truma. It says, if it doesn't become sanctified, so what does it mean to bear the sin, to carry the sin? Mikan, it must mean that it works. This throws you off, because Rava's whole logic was that it's considered a sin just for trying. And now Rava is saying that what does it mean to bear the sin? That means that it's effective. So this throws me off reading this. But what Rabbi is saying here is that no, this is a special case. The reason why over here it's effective is because we have a special pasuk that tells me here it's effective. Normally not. Ula Abaya. According to Abaya, what do I need any special pasuk over here? According to Abaya, it's always effective when the Torah says not to do it, and over here we say it's effective. So very good, it's effective. That's what the whole Torah is.
So what that pasuk's doing?
So what's that pasuk doing? That's the Gemara's question. If the Torah didn't tell me, do not bear the sin, I would have thought that this is what the merciful one is saying. This is what the Torah is saying. Avid mitzvah min amavcher. Should do a superior mitzvah. Be layavid, but if you don't do it, you're not considered a sinner. It's a hiddur mitzvah. It's something extra. Rabbeinu Tam Tefillin. Kamash Malon comes to tell us, no, this is not some extra hiddur that you accepted on yourself. This is a sin if you don't do it. Okay, so it has to tell me that. Now the Gemara says, "Very mimin al sheini minai damarachmana." You have to take truma from the same species. You can't take from one species on another.
So he's reinterpreting. It's a different interpretation of the meaning of the word chaylev in this pasuk. Instead of saying the best, not best or worse, he's saying from the same species. Can't substitute grain for grape or whatever, right? Is that what it's saying?
In the following pasuk or
above we used chelvo to mean from the best.
Right.
And the other way to interpret it could be.
What do you want to say? No, 1 second. What do you want to say that what else does it mean?
From its type, because we're talking about now mean b'mino. You can't substitute.
Oh, no. So follow this. I don't think it's doing that. Before chaylev meant the best.
Right.
Chaylev meant the best. Over here we have a different pasuk. Damar Rachmana, kol chaylev yitzar. You have to really read the whole pasuk. The Gemara throws us off here with quoting half the pasuk. I need the Gemara that has. It says over here, kol chaylev yitzar, v'kol chaylev tiresh v'dagan, reishisa mashayitn la'Hashem l'chanasatim. So the translation would be, yitzar is the oil. All the best of the oil. Chaylev yitzar, the best of the oil. And all the best of the wine and grain. So it throws those two together. When it says the best, it says it twice. But in the second category, it has two things. It has tirish v'dagan. So it says that the first you have to give to the Kohen. So when it says like this, called chaylev yitzar, and then it goes ahead and it says chaylev tirish v'dagan, it says chaylev again, litin chaylev lazeh v'chaylev lazeh. It's dividing it into two. You see, it skipped the second half of the pasuk, but that's the main point of it. Utanan, and it was also taught in the Mishnah. Ein tarmin mimin al shein minay vim tarim ein trumasi truma. Let's say someone takes from his oil truma, and he wants to take to satisfy his obligation for the wine. Doesn't work. It's not truma. Al malay mahani. We see that it's not effective. This is a kasha on Abayah. Abayah says if the Torah says don't do it, it's still effective. Here we see that you're doing something and it's not effective. So Amalach Abayah says Shani Hasim Damakra Reishi Sam, a plural. There first. The first of them, rather. The first of them. Reishis Lazev, Reishis Lazeh. That it has to be separate. V'cheinam Rabbi Eily, Reishi Sam. And also Rabbi Eily says Reishi Sam. What is this over here? You have to say, it says Reishis, but you have to correct it. Probably in all of this Gemara, it's supposed to be Reishi Sam. Reishis Lazev, Reishis Lazeh. Ulu Rava. According to Rava, why do you have to have this Reishi Sam? It's not effective anyway. Ilav Damar, it's probably supposed to be Reishi Sam. Havamina, I would have thought, or I would have said, Tirish v'yitzar d'ksiv b'hu chaylev chaylev dein tamen mizel zeh. I have a division here. It says Tirish and yitzar, wine and oil. Over there I have a separate chaylev for each one. You're not allowed to take one from the other. Aval Tirish v'dagan, or dagan v'dagan, the chad chaylev ksiv b'hu. I would have thought that in the second part of the pasuk it says chaylev tirish v'dagan. It only uses one chaylev to say both of them. So I would have thought that if I would have taken truma from one on the other, that's not divided up in the pasuk. That would work. There's no malchus there. Leilaki? No, that doesn't make sense. No, I would have thought that over there it would work. So Kasav Rachmana, you have to take out the word lucky. Kasav Rachmana, Reishis, Litin, Chaylev Lazeh, Chaylev Lazeh. Reishi Sam. There's a few corrections here in this Gemara. Yeah, it's supposed to say Reishi Sam. In the article, it's probably corrected already. But in our Gemara, it's still missing that's why it says the plural, Reishi Sam, the first of them, to say that you have to give separate one from the other. You have to take out this lishon achrina. You take out the next line until the word reishis, and we're finished with this question. Okay. Where am I getting that from? I'm getting that from Yud in the Shita Mikubetzes. It says, "Mitevas lamed aleph lishon achrina ad tevas v'harei charam emukef bechatzi something." It's supposed to be chatzi rebua. Mine's half. what's it called? Brackets.
Yeah.
Barei Haramim. But what about if someone consecrates land or an item to be given to the Kohen? Over there it says that it goes directly to the Kohen and you don't redeem it. If he does it in a Cherem, if he gives it to the temple, so then it can be redeemed. But if he gives it as a Cherem, that it means it's a gift directly to the Kohen, it means it becomes the Kohen, so you can't redeem it and give the Kohen something else. Utanan, and it's taught in the Mishnah, Chermei Kohenim, it's supposed to say, Ein Lehem Pidyon, you can't redeem them. Elanoisen Lakan, you give it to the Kohen. Alma, Loi Mahani. You see that if you try to redeem it, it's not effective. Tifta Abaya, it's a Kashan Abaya, according to Abaya. Just because the Torah says that not to do it, that's the reason why it is effective. That's why the Torah has to tell you not to do it. Right? Like a sign on the door, it says don't use that door. That's because the door works. If it was a wall, it wouldn't say don't use it. Right? Don't walk through the wall. It's because it's a problem. Amar Lach. So he's going to, I spelled it just the Amar Lach Abaya. Amar Lach Abaya. Abaya would say, Shani Hasim over there, it's different. Amar Rachmana, Kodesh Kadashim Hu. It is holy. Special pasuk that tells me that it can't be redeemed. B'haviyasa Yehei. It has to stay as is, the way that you consecrated it. Ularava, that says that whenever the Torah says don't do something, it's not effective anyway. So what do we need that hu, that extra hu that tells me that it has to stay the same? Hai hu lamute bechar. That's coming to teach me something else. It's coming to tell me something about a bechar.